Hey everybody, this is Erin Lincoln and I'm here to show you how to put the Coin Purse 2 stitching dies together using the button closure. Here's a great example with an accent by Floral Clusters 1, and it opens up and we have a little decorative detail on the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. Your dies come like this. There's a lot jam-packed into a little package. There's actually two options here. For the drawstring bag, you use this die, but since we're not going to be using that today, I'm going to take that, pull that aside. Instead, we're making a coin purse like this. And this uses all these dies that you see right here. So let's get cutting. You're going to want one of the front of the coin purse 2. This is 2/3 of the larger sized one. I'm cutting it out of Ocean Tides felt. And while we're here, we're going to go ahead and do the corners because the corners go on the front. The corners consist of 2 dies, one a holes only die and one's a hole in shape. The holes only die cuts the interior stitching holes, and the backer lines up perfectly with the contours of the front of the coin purse for easy placement. So run that through once, and then you're going to run it through again on the opposite corner as well. And as you can see, we have stitch lines now on the interior to match with the corner. And you're going to do this again. It's completely symmetrical, so you have no problem flipping it around to the other side. Okay, now for the actual corners, this is the holes in shape die, and as you can see, it cuts the same stitching holes as the contour of the coin purse. I'm using every single bit of scraps that I have when it comes to the felt. Looks like I made a Christmas ornament at some point. Okay, again, you're going to cut 2 of these, one for each corner to match up with the front of your coin purse. Next, we're going to cut 2 of the back side of the coin purse. You cut 2 because you sandwich the button loop die in between. This die set in particular is really good for color blocking. You have lots of options of adding lots of different colors. So I'm cutting one out of Simply Chartreuse felt and one out of Spring Moss. And again, you're going to need 2. It's also nice to cut one out of fabric that's been treated with heat and bond, so you open your purse up to a pattern. It's just another option for you. But today I'm just using the felt. Make sure you get it directly over your shim to make sure all your cut holes and your cut lines cut as nicely as possible. Okay, just to layer it up so you can see what we're talking about. Back, middle, front, flat folds over, and then we add the corners. So that's generally how it's going to look. Now we just need a button loop. So we're going to take the button loop die and we're going to cut 2. We're cutting 2 just to add a lot of durability because this is going to get a little wear and tear, and I try to make it as strong as possible at these wear points. And we're going to go ahead and stitch these together. Now it uses a bit of a different stitch, which I'm going to get into. You see it kind of loops around. I'm calling it a figure 8 blanket stitch. I'm not sure if I made that up or not. I'm sure I'm not original in this at all. But in wrapping the floss around the felt, we're going to make it stronger. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this looks a little bit like a T, and that's how I'm going to refer to it. So on the top horizontal section of the T, you're going to start 2 holes in. Oh, but first I forgot to mention, due to manufacturing limitations, you have to snip this little teardrop shape out of the bottom to open the loop up. It's just a real quick snip with your scissors, and it's just how we have to manufacture the dies. And it opens it up, and now you can see it's more of a loop. All right, Now back to that T on the horizontal portion, the second hole in. You start your thread, and now for this first run, it's just your basic running stitch like we always do. Up hole A, down hole B, up hole C, down hole D, so on and so forth. And we're going to go all the way around. And it's on the reverse that we're going to do this figure 8 blanket stitch, which I'm completely making up the name for. Okay, I'm already there. And on my, so now I'm going to reverse. I'm going to go down, and now I'm going to wrap it around the outside and down the same hole. And now I'm going to wrap it around the inside and go down the same hole. And now I move in along to fill in the running stitch. We're going to do this 2 more times on camera so you can see. Wrap around one side, back up through the stitching hole, down through the middle, up through the stitching hole. Go on to the next hole using your running stitch that fills it in around the outside and around the inside. And you do that until you get back to the beginning. Tie it off, and you're ready to use this on your project. Now, you didn't use contrasting thread, so it's a little hard to see, so I'm going to go ahead and get my sample, which has contrasting thread, and you can have a better visual of what that's going to look like. Okay, moving on. Now I'm a bit of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl, so you're going to notice I add in little details to this coin purse as we go along off camera. Right now we have a little ladybug. Oh, super cute. I haven't used that in a while. And that's going on the inside of my coin purse. Again, I am layering these up from the back to the front. And if you notice, I stitched in the interior stitch lines of my patches, my corner patches, and tied and snipped those off. You want to do those at this point too. Now we're just sort of aligning everything. Now place your button loop at the top center of your coin purse, and you're just going to eyeball this. There's 4 holes in the button loop, and they should line up with the holes in the coin purse. Eyeball it, and using a stitch marker such as a safety pin, you're going to mark where that goes in. This is the first stitching hole I'm going to stitch in the button loop, so I'm putting my safety pin in there. Now, do as I say, not as I do. Use a smaller safety pin and go through both layers of felt here. The holes are really close to the edge, and I don't want that safety pin tearing through. Just think you'll be better off that way. Now you're going to fold it down over the front, see where your button loop's going to go, and then using a marker, place a little dot, and that's where your button's going to go. So I've gone ahead and sewn in the button. It's tied off on the back. Now for your button, you want to use no more than 1/2 inch wide on a button. If you go any bit bigger, you're going to run into trouble. So anywhere between 3/8 of an inch and 1/2 inch is the size of your button. And that's an Ocean Tides button from my collection. Okay, we're going to start sewing this together. Insert your needle between 2 pieces of felt, leaving a tail of floss. And you're going to do a running stitch all the way to the other opposite side. And we're starting at that little indent, that little pinch in of the coin purse. Okay, running stitch again. It's up hole A, down hole B, up hole C, down through D, so on until you get to your turn point. And then we fill it all in, doing the same stitch. This way the back looks as nice as the front. Okay, I've gotten to the opposite side, and now I'm just going to reverse. And as you see, my running stitch gets filled in. And I'm going to return to where I started, right there. Now you can either tie off your thread here between the layers of felt and trim it, or in case you need to go across this straightaway, this horizontal part. My thread in this instance was long enough so I could do that, so I didn't tie anything off. I just continued on. I inserted my needle on that last hole before that little pinch in, and now sewing through only the top layer of felt. This is merely decorative. I am stitching a running stitch to my turnaround point across, and then I'm going to come back. And I like to weave my needle in multiple holes on these single layer felt straightaways. It just makes it faster. And this is where I'm returning, filling in the running stitch. That's tied off. Oh, and look, abracadabra, flowers on both the front and the back. Just decided they needed a little something more. Okay, we're gonna finish up here. Now starting where your last stitch was with a fresh piece of floss, we're gonna do a running stitch up around the top third, the flap of this coin purse. And when you get to that stitch marker, we're going to place our button loop right there. Okay, sorry, this is a different day in I was having lighting situations, but you will see what I mean. So I took my stitch marker out because that's the next stitch, inserted my button loop, the holes all line up, and now I'm sewing through 2 layers of felt of the coin purse with the button loop sandwiched in between, making sure I get those stitching holes of the button loop. And once I stitch these 4 stitches, it's in, is no problem. I don't have to worry about it on the reverse. It's just like you're stitching anything normal, 2 pieces of felt together. Okay, it's in, and I'm going to continue on with my running stitch to that little tucked in point on my coin purse. Okay, the only thing you do want to be aware of here is you make sure when you join and when you turn around here, your running stitch looks continuous now going all the way around. There should be no gaps. It's just a solid stitching line along this entire perimeter of the coin purse. Just keep going. And once you get to your button loop, it's no big deal, it's stitched in. It's hardly a hiccup. And you return to where you started. And here we go, all done with the button loop closure. Again, I want to stress no button over 1/2 inch. It's between 3/8 of an inch and a little smidge under 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch exactly, nothing bigger, you're going to rip that button loop, and I speak from experience if you notice my button is different here. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I hope you like this new addition to my stitching die line, and you'll be making coin purses and drawstring bags of your own here soon. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you again on the next stitching project.